Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Kyle Lowry. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks
Basketball Podcast.
I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, are you?
I am the producer. My name is Matt Duncan, Esquire. How are you doing, Fred?
Esquire.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good.
Do people still say Esquire to sound fancy?
Well, you're my Matty D, my very own Matty D. So you're Esquire. You're
I'm Esquire.
And as fine as they come, and you're wearing a leather button-up. Delectable.
Oh, leather.
Folks.
This is a denim shirt.
I meant to say denim.
Leather. Oh, I wish I was wearing a leather button-up shirt.
This is not the button-up podcast, folks. This is the Confederacy of Dunks podcast. We're Raptors fans. We're hardcore NBA fans.
Yeah.
We're just nuts about basketball, and we mostly have comedians on, performers, and other than basketball.
Yeah,
nuts.
some sports personalities, some writers,
That's
so
right.
I think we've even had a guy who worked at a pizza place once.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Maddie.
Yes.
If people want to help us, find us, make sure they have an unitchy head.
Yes.
Support other comedy podcasts. Where can they do all of that? How
Okay,
do they do all
well,
of that?
let's start at thesonarnetwork.com. That is the podcast network we are a part of. This is brought to you by, you can go to their website. You can also go to dunkspodcast.com. Our website is a bit like a teenage boy's skateboard covered in stickers, but I think that you can get all the info you want there. You can get our podcatchers. You can get our Instagram, our YouTube, our Twitter, and you could also click on the Sonar Network button there as well. And for those itchy heads, I will say that, yes, we do have toques. Of course we do. Of course it's getting colder. Of course we need to sell these. Please support the podcast. Get that anti-itch toque on your head. Contact us, order through our Shopify, or send us an email or a message. Right, Fred?
Correct. I love when you make, not you, anyone, but when you make a funny joke and you can't stop thinking about it. Like when you said our website is like a teenager's skateboard, I could tell. I could see your face. You couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't.
It's a solid comparison. But it does look like that.
Yeah, it does have that feel, covered in the decals.
We got some DC shoe Kuza.
Yeah.
We got some links to all
Alien
the things.
Workshop.
Anything that you would get at a wakeboarding festival, you get on our website.
That's definitely it. Yeah, we should be we should be sponsored by a wakeboard competition for sure.
Come up to a Sega and go for a rap. Okay. I don't know what kind of slang I was trying to do, but
I will say that we did wrap up season 7. We didn't say this last week, but thank you for listening. It was a 45 episode long haul. Thanks for sticking with us. We are in the off season now, so we will be there until the next season starts. And we're going to keep giving you content. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll work to keep you entertained.
Yeah, thanks, people. We will keep giving you content and we'll keep giving you the goods.
Yeah.
Speaking of keeping on, let's all keep fighting the fight to defund the police. If you're not watching what's going on in horror right now in Nova Scotia, you should be. We need to defund the police. You need to email your city councilor. This isn't, a dead issue of any kind. We're going to have to fight for it for a very long time. So go ahead and do that. Black Lives Matter. And I think we're ready to start talking some basketball. Maddie, if you feel like we're good to go, please just give me the sweet, sweet okay.
Oh,
okay. Let's bring on guest number 1. He's a hilarious dude. He's been on the podcast a bunch of times, really. Not in a while though. He's super funny. He's in a million kind of different fun cartoon affiliates, or that's the weirdest way to say he's in a bunch of shows, and he's hilarious. He knows LeBron, not personally, but locally. They're the same age, same town. That's why he's a Cleveland fan, but we let him on the podcast because he loves the Raptors too. Give it up as loud as you can for the one, the only Ned Petrie.
Now I can get to it. There we go. 180. Yeah.
What's up, Ned Petrie?
You know, every time I come back, I like to add a new move to my entrance dance.
It's true. You do.
Yeah. No, you said I hadn't been in a while.
You've broken a lot of plates on this
working
podcast.
This whole summer, I've been working on a trampoline. trying to get a double backflip.
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
quite there yet. 1.5.
I thought you were going to say you were working on the trampoline just for like your sounds on the intro of this podcast, just to get that out of rhythm. Like,
It does help. You know, you gotta do it. I'm a method noisemaker. You know, I gotta like have it in my sense memory so that I can bring it. You know, when necessary.
All the method actors are my favorite people. If I could like hang out with anyone like on a deserted island, it would be like the most method actor people.
Oh yeah.
I think they'd be super practical and like fun to be with. And
well, the best one would be probably Tom Hanks, because he actually has a real sense memory of being on a desert island.
Yes,
true.
That'd be great.
True.
I was thinking Jared Leto, but
another one.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he's the best actor in the world. So
Whoa. Okay.
Okay, maybe
I was going to say best musician in the world, but I don't know about actor.
Both. He's both. Let's bring on guest number 2 before I say anything else I'm going to regret about Jared Leto. She's incredible. She's a writer for a million things. This Hour, The Beaverton, Mr. D, Buckets and Tea podcast is hers. It's incredible. I was on it once. It's great. She's amazing. Give it up as loud as you can for the one, the only Cathryn Naiker.
Now I feel the pressure to dance. This is a very different vibe, you know?
Yours is more
Very different.
K-hole vibe.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, cool, Cathryn's here. I'm just going to drop this pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check back in.
It's a different vibe. Mine's
Maybe
a real
that's-
pop. You have to dance.
Yeah.
Yours
I guess
is more floaty.
that's the only reason my podcast has gained steam, because everyone's just dropped K before listening. Anyway, I'm not saying you should do that. Hi.
I'm saying you should guide people through, like you should be the like a trip sitter. I feel like you'd be a good trip sitter, honestly.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I've never considered myself that before.
Oh, it's all I think about, you being a trip sitter. So I'm sorry it took me years to tell you. I'm like, you know what? If somebody's doing like drugs that are a bit intense, they need Cathryn around.
Yeah. I guess I have a calming energy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Let's
I'm sorry, I don't know where to go with this. I have very little experience with drugs. I tried to play that cool for a while.
No, me too. I tried to play cool. Like even the word trip sitter, I slid in there, like I'm like well versed, and I'm not. And then the whole time I was thinking, like, how do I make this about Nick Nurse? Because this is Cathryn, and should I like transition this to Fisherman's Friends or something? But that's not really a drug.
No.
Anyhow, let's talk some Raptors ball, shall we? Maddie, I don't know what you got, but I'm sure you got some kind of Raptor sting. So whatever it is, please give it to me. Cathryn, let's start with you. I think we probably talked about Fred a bunch last week, but it's it's Fred watch, and this is where we're at. This is the first domino, I think, in our off season. Mark Stein, Tim Bontemps just reported that the number, it seems, in debate, I don't know if it's like if there's any contention there. It seems like both sides are talking. For Fred VanVleet is $80 million, which I could only guess is some sort of like 20 mil a year with a player option. That is a bit lower than I think some people would have pegged it at. I think before the season started. But it seems right given all the kind of like COVID stuff, Hong Kong, where the NBA is going, but without like as enthusiastic as a partner with China, like who knows what's going to go on with the cap. But also the Knicks, the Pistons, $20 million probably is like, oh, that's all we have to beat. So it does seem like a very beatable number. Anyhow, all that kind of Fred stuff, pretext in there. How's this feeling for you? Does this sound about right?
Yeah, I think it sounds about right to me, given, like you said, all the financial losses that the NBA has had. I mean, I think Kyle gets an extra 10 to 13 million more a year. Like, doesn't he make 30 something million a year?
Kyle's on his last year of, it's going to be 33.
Yeah. So, I mean, considering where Fred's at in his career, I feel like this is about right. I don't think you want to be in a position where you're giving a max contract to someone who is good, but not an all-star. Like, I feel like if you're going to give somebody a max contract, they should at least be on an all-star, like top 4 in their conference kind of level. But with that being said, like if the Knicks or somebody wants to like outbid us and way overpay him, then I mean, I'd be sorry to see him go, but I don't want to be in a position where we're overpaying Fred VanVleet and then we're not even in the Giannis conversation next season, which is what a lot of this free agency is really about.
Yeah. And I think like, I've said a bunch of times, like to you and other people, I feel like we would move who we needed to move. But I think then the question becomes who's tradable, or how much money is a tradable contract. Like I'm just looking at the salaries now. You got Norm in 2021 making $10 million. So he's going to be like massively tradable. Lowry's on an expiring. So theoretically that's tradable, but it's Lowry. So he's different. Plus expirings aren't what they used to be. Pascal's starting his max. So I mean, I don't think, you want to move on from Pascal anyhow, and everyone else is super cheap. So yeah, I think it just becomes like, if this is money you want to carry forward, is this money you feel like you can back up? Like, is this a Terrence Ross style contract? But Indiana, let's say, signed Malcolm Brogdon, who this is kind of getting compared to a 4-year, I think 85. Is Malcolm Brogdon a tradable contract? Like if the Pacers wanted to move on from him, our team's like, absolutely not. Like, is it a Wiggins scenario? And then for me, I don't know what that number is for Fred. Ned, why don't you just jump in here? How are you feeling about kind of like, I guess Fred's theoretical number? We're not like capologists here, so we're not pretending to be, but
no, I think, I mean, the numbers that we're seeing from him, I think Cathryn's totally right. I think they're saying less about Fred and his value and more about long-term plans. They say more about 2021 probably. Cause I think he's worth all of that in terms of his value to the team, but he also needs to go out and get that money. You know what I mean? If somebody's willing to pay him a lot, then go for it, man. But we can't
bet
really
on yourself, Freddie.
Yeah. But the Raptors, can't afford to lock up too many of these guys. Cathryn's right in describing him as a great player for any team, but not necessarily like he's a great, leader, great closer at the end of games, can play anywhere in the prime of his career, but probably not a super duper star. So if that's the number that that we're hearing about being thrown out there, it's probably because that's what they think he's worth without leveraging too much of the future.
Right. And I guess also that's like what they've put out into the media. So now there's kind of like something for both parties to zero in on, whether that's Fred and his camp being like, that's ridiculous, or, maybe that's him and it like that's the Raptors saying like, here's what we want to pay. We'll negotiate with you if you want to go higher, but this is really what like would be the most optimal amount of money for us to pay you. I remember DeMar took, a couple different incentives off, and like he didn't fully maximize his contract, which I definitely think made his contract more tradable in the end. Ned, let's stick with you. And, this is also like fairly intangible. And again, we're not specialists, period. So we're not capologists. We're not coaches either. But Nate Bjorkgren, I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Bjorkgren.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's Nate the Bjorkgren. S that's silent. How dare me? How dare I?
Bjorkgren.
But yeah, Nate, who was the lead assistant, is the guy who yells at my player in my NBA 2K thing. Like, for some reason, Nurse is just always there and around, but Nate like leads the practices. It's actually hilarious. But yeah, so he's going to be head coach of the Indiana Pacers. We know that he's kind of like Nurse's lifetime kind of like coaching buddy. They've won all sorts of championships together. I think I just read a Lewinberg tweet that they've been together working together for upwards of 25 years.
Yeah.
So, pretty huge part of Nurse's kind of engine. I don't think the Raptors are too worried. We're a high class organization. I'm sure lots of people are angling for Nate's job. We can, promote someone internally or whatever. I'm not too worried about it from our angle, but yeah, like, from a Pacers perspective, they were super injured this year, but they got swept by the Heat. What kind of like Raptors, like, we don't know what exactly separates Nate from Nurse, or, and at the time we didn't know exactly what separated Casey from Nurse. We just have to see. But what's the kind of like Raptors thing that you maybe might see in Indiana next year?
Well, I think it is about sort of instilling something that works, when
pound the rock.
Yeah, when assistants, go out for, these interviews for head coaching positions, they're likely asked, what would you do? Like, what's your hypothesis on how you can make this work? And for everyone, it's a hypothesis, unless you are someone who's been winning lately, in which case it's a little bit better than a hypothesis. He's been there. He knows he knows how to make it work for to make, the whole team top to bottom bring it together. Because the Pacers have had pretty good regular season records, right? But they've been in like first round and out. Yeah, and most of the last few years, right?
And really bad injury luck.
Right.
Yeah, last year was really, really bad injury luck. I think the best thing I can remember since since Paul George kind of made his way out is the year where they got Oladipo and Sabonis, and it was kind of like those guys weren't really great before Indiana, and they were developed really well and became like excellent players there. And then of course I'm not sure if I think Oladipo was on the team, but I know Thaddeus Young was on the team, and they took Cleveland, the LeBron Cleveland Cavaliers, to 7 games before they swept the Raptors, and then the Steven Celtics took them to 7 before they were then swept by the Warriors. But so I kind of lost my way there.
Well, just in terms of, they seem to be a team that's like primed to, there's potential to, win a series, go a little deeper.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. They have talent. That's kind of, I think, where I was like wiggling. But I'm clearly lost. Cathryn, you're laughing. Help me out a little bit here. What is
laughing at your meandering, and then you're like, where am I? And then you're like, they have talent.
He knows, but Nate knows too. He knows how to take that talent. You know what I'm saying? and
he screamed,
make it work.
The Pacers have talent from somewhere lost in the bushes, muffled by the windy, windy Indiana Lake Erie vibes. Okay. So
well, I should ask you, Freddie, since he's the coach on your fictional video game team, what kind of a coach is he?
Well, I'll tell you what, he yells a lot. He says,
Really?
we got to get after it.
Oh my gosh.
He says we're going to work on our transition defense. And he also brings in different Raptors specialists for the practices, like former Hall of Famers, like Muggsy Bogues.
Wow. So that's his method in the game. I would say if he does that, the Pacers are going to be happy with this choice.
Like if he brings in Pacers legends.
Oh yeah, he's bringing in Reggie Miller. He's bringing in Rick Smits.
Folks, I'm gonna bring in Jamal Tinsley. He's gonna show you some really cool passing, and he's gonna kick somebody's ass.
So, what do we know about this guy's personality? If he's been with Nick Nurse for a long time, he must be like a mellow guy as well, right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Or is he Nick Nurse's bulldog?
Oh, that would be cool. I know that they kind of like that's the main person he's in dialogue with during like timeouts and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think he's head coached a G League team opposite Nurse as well. But yeah, Cathryn, what kind of good stuff can Nate bring to the Pacers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to yell a lot. I feel like that got into some borderline fan fiction territory.
Fair enough.
It's purely on 2K, right?
Yeah.
What game is it, Freddie?
It's 2K20. So
sure.
It's just Nate Bjorkgren and a bunch of former Raptors from 20 years ago on the bench.
You got it.
Okay. Look, I mean, I think Nate Bjorkgren and Nick Nurse are essentially a hive mind, and I think that's why the Pacers picked him up. And I think this is a really smart choice for them because he is a first-time head coach in the league. He probably, I mean, I don't know what his salary is, but I imagine it doesn't have to be as high as, like the Ty Lues of the
right, Van Gundy
are asking for. And this is also not a situation where he's like being set up to fail. There's no like championship or bust expectations. Like you said, this is a group with some solid talent. Mm-hmm. I feel like Victor Oladipo hasn't quite been the same since his injury, but he also hasn't had the chance to get into a rhythm either between like him coming back for like, I think it was like 6 weeks before the shutdown and then a small amount of time in the bubble. So I feel like I'm really, the future is brighter than I think people realize it is in Indiana. And totally I think Nate is a good coach, and I think he will surprise people because people will have very low expectations for Indiana.
Great answer. Let's talk about, sorry, that sounded sarcastic, but I totally agree with everything. No, I agree with everything. The hive mind point was huge. And I feel like why would you not want to get a guy like Nate Bjorkgren, who's like, yeah, he knows all of this like amazing zone stuff. He's going to be able to maximize all the talent. I think the Sabonis Turner stuff is probably the trickiest thing to figure out. But yeah, he's got, what?
It's going to be
brothers.
It's going to be really fun to watch the Raptors and the Pacers play against each other. It's going to be really fun to watch them coach against each other.
Okay, well, this is where I was going a little bit, not necessarily with the Pacers, but the Raptors, we don't know exactly when the season's going to start, but I think it's going to be some type of modified something, whether that's in a bubble.
Oh.
Yeah, hot takes. Hot, bold, salient takes coming from Freddie today. I think there might not be a vaccine for a little bit.
Oh,
but, yeah, No, but it looks like we're going to play perhaps our division a bunch. So, if it's like maybe it's a scenario where there's no Western Conference, Eastern Conference games, or there's some type of tournament.
Is the idea like regional bubbles?
I haven't really heard that yet, but I feel like trying to, it's not 8 games to finish out the season. This is like, okay, what are we going to do for the whole season plus playoffs? So I also don't think, a bubble in one place is necessarily as optimal as it might have been just to finish out the playoffs. But anyways, yeah, the reason I'm saying this is because I heard Bill Simmons on the Low Post, and they were just kind of like brainstorming about it, and it got me thinking like, okay, so our division is the Celtics, the Sixers, the New Brooklyn Nets, and the Knicks. So not necessarily like ranking who you think is going to be 1 to 5, but Cathryn, I'm going to start with you. Just as far as like entertainment value, the Raptors though, like not like Celtics versus Brooklyn, like Raptors versus Brooklyn, Raptors versus Celtics. Where are you next year? How do you rank them 1 to 4?
Oh, like where I think they'll end up in like a playoff ranking?
No, like entertainment value playing
entertainment value.
That's right.
I mean, I think they're all going to be pretty entertaining. Like, I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to be fun to watch, because they're going to be it looks like a disaster, right? Like this like group coaching thing that Steve Nash definitely did not say he wanted to do. Like, everyone's a coach now. I mean, it's going to be.
I do love that came out right after he's like, I'll be the head coach. And then it's like, group head coach.
Yeah, and then he's like, can I go to New Orleans? Like, can I bounce? Like, can I get out of this? Is there like a 10-day clause on this contract?
But so many angles there too with KD. Like, he might hate Toronto for the people who yell.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dreading Kevin Durant coming back to Toronto, but like, I don't think they can come back to Toronto. I mean, with the travel restrictions right now, like, how is that going to look if they're flying?
Yeah, fans probably aren't going to be
Toronto. It's also like super unsafe for the Raptors to have to fly in and out of Toronto because they have to go through customs. So it's like they don't just like drop, they're not like in a private plane just dropping off and off they go. It's like they have to go through customs every time. They have to go through the airport. That's like a super dangerous position to put them in. So I don't think it's going to happen like that. Like you said, it's going to have to be a modified something, because likely we won't have a vaccine very soon. And if we do, it's going to take a while to implement. And just the idea of giving it to like these wealthy people before everyone else is like pretty grossly unfair. So, I mean, I don't know how any of that's going to play out. But I do trust Adam Silver to figure it out. Like, every time I've thought this year he was going to do something that was crazy, like everything from the all-star format to the bubble, it always ended up working out. So like, I do trust the guy, but it's hard for me to sit here and really envision what that is. But I mean, come on, the Miami Heat, very entertaining. The Boston Celtics are entertaining. We don't even know what the Raptors are going to look like, but I'm a homer, so they are going to be entertaining.
What about the other two teams in the division, Philly and the Knicks? Would you be like, I'd rather watch the Raptors versus the Knicks than the Raptors versus Celtics?
Look, I mean, I think the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be talked about a lot, but not necessarily for the right reasons. I think that situation's done. I don't really know why Doc Rivers went there out of all the places he could have gone. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. But no, I'm not counting either of those teams as entertaining.
Okay, last little follow-up question before I go to Ned. Did you almost say Adam Sandler? I truly did not, but thank you for asking. Thank you for answering. Ned, what, how would you rank, Philly, Brooklyn, Boston,
sure.
and
if we're just
the other team,
the division rivals, particularly if this ends up, because that makes sense to me, if they, instead of putting all the teams in one big bubble, if there's, if you spend time in one region's bubble for
like divisional tournaments or something.
Right. So, and if you spend the most time with the other ones in your region, then then this should be good, because these are for the most part, these should be entertaining games. My favorite ones to watch would probably be Sixers games, just because I don't like the tension of worrying if your team is going to lose. I don't like
slander.
So I like that the Sixers get, because they're a legitimate team. So it's not a complete garbage game or anything, but I feel comfortable that the Raptors have their number and they're going to cry and collapse and stuff.
This is good because even if you're up like 10 when you're playing the Knicks, you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
If we have to play our starters in the fourth, I'm going to be upset.
Right. But with the Sixers, I feel like, hey, the game is worth it. But I think in the end, they're an easy nut to crack mentally. So
yeah,
you can watch them fall apart. Next, I'd say the Nets probably just because of the star power and stuff. And it is going to be interesting to see what they do next year. They got enough star power there that the game should be entertaining and they should be competitive, even though they're going to spend most of the year probably figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And of course, since my issue is the anxiety of wondering whether your team is going to win, there's a little tension there. I don't know. And then Celtics, fuck the Celtics.
Yeah, I know, right? Like they're good, but
they're frustrating.
I have the Knicks lower than them because the Knicks are just like.
Well, the Knicks are lower than them because
it's a bit of like
why is this game happening? Yeah.
Please, someone help Mr. Rowan Bear Jr.
Because the only I think benefit of doing a Knicks game in terms of entertainment quality is if you're playing in Madison Square Garden and it's full of people, because then there's sort of a big game feel to it. Like
the theater
if a big
lights
thing happens, it's like exciting. But they're not going to play there next year. There's not going to be fans in the stands.
You're so right. The Knicks without fans is brutal.
Just imagine.
Yeah, like I'm going to get to one of these types of questions later on when we talk about the league, but the Knicks are one of the 8 teams that we haven't seen in a very long time. And I mean like think about like Rowan Bear Jr., right? You haven't seen him since like whatever his last already meaningless game in March was.
I know you're coming up. There's going to be a topic, or you're planning on doing a topic later that's sort of about this, but the Knicks were so far off my radar that earlier today I was just looking at like a power rankings of, weekly power rankings. And when I got to the team 29, I was like, wait, there's one more? But I read about all the teams. Like what team is even left? And then I scroll down. It was the Knicks. I'm like, I forgot about the existence of the New York Knicks. Like that is so.
Is there? Yeah, just before we move on, because we kind of like went on a bit of a Knicks tangent here. Is there a team clearly like before this offseason gets going, and this is to both of you, that looks worse than the Knicks?
I don't think so.
Because everyone's got something going on, and I think that they don't. Like
the Knicks don't even have one star player.
They have Rowan Bear Jr. and like I think that's kind of it.
Thibodeau is with them now.
Oh, right. Tibbs. Okay. So they have like a new, fair enough. But I think like, even looking at like Chicago, Atlanta, Charlotte, I'm like, they all look quite a bit better than the Knicks.
Yeah.
Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland. Sorry, Ned.
No, I agree. That was 29 on the power rankings. And I'm like, who could be lower than Cleveland? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, the Knicks, of course.
That's the thing. The Knicks,
at least the Cavs, I could name you 3 people under contract,
Well, in Cavs, we know the recent history, right? It's like LeBron left. Oh God, they're rebuilding. They still have love. But the Knicks are like, what happened? Oh.
That's right. Yeah, the Cavs are still in that glow. I've talked about this on the podcast before where I'm like, you can't complain. If your team has won a championship in the last 5 years, you can't complain. Even if they're totally bottomed out, you have no room to complain. But the Knicks are in year 50 or 45 or whatever it is.
The Cavs are definitely trading Kevin Love, right?
Oh, for sure. I think they're still.
There's going to be so many teams are going to be after Kevin Love.
And I don't even think they've traded Tristan Thompson yet. So.
Yeah, he'll also get traded. I think this is a team that's going to bottom out, but for the best. Why?
Yeah. No, Cleveland. Yeah, like Ned said, they won a championship a couple years ago.
Yeah, like I just think there's going to be a lot of interesting things that happen with the lower ranking Eastern Conference. Like a lot of people are talking about Bradley Beal possibly getting moved. I look at the Hawks and I'm like, I feel like they're not doing enough to build around Trae Young. And I think once like the Giannis sweepstakes is kind of over, it's going to move over to him, that spotlight, because it's like they're just not doing enough with him. If they're not even a playoff team this year, it's like, why would he stay? That's like 3 years of being in the bottom of the East. I mean, it's
totally.
just like I think there's a lot of interesting things that'll happen with these teams. So it's like they're not going to be entertaining on the court necessarily, but off the court, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting moves.
I think if this year
going to be a nutso off season.
Oh,
John Wall too. Like what's going on there, right?
I think if we're bubbled for part of this next season, or like some modified thing where teams aren't playing in their home, arenas with no fans, that all the teams that aren't contending, they all may as well just bottom out. Like they all may as well just immediately go into rebuild, because it's going to be a weird season.
You're not making money off the fans being there anyway. So it's like if you're the Wizards and you trade Bradley Beal for like picks and some role players, you just develop the guys that you have, and then, basically bottom out, get like a top 2 draft pick next year, and then have a new person for the fan base to kind of rally around when you can have fans in the building again. Yeah.
You don't need to worry about the fans booing you off the court or being embarrassed to show. There's no one there. You may as well.
Yeah. This like, I'm not a tanking person at all, but I feel like this is the year, if you're sort of in that position, to really bottom out. But I will never advocate bottoming out for multiple years. I think that's stupid.
Well, yeah. And then there's always the reverse thing too. I mean, like if you're in a position like the Wizards, I hear you, but there's some other teams that, like, if you're not too far away and you're looking at the Lakers, you might be like, they're not that good. Like we can come at this team. Like it's not a Warriors style, like, yikes, we're like so far away. But, if they get a Beal or something, well, it's a different conversation. But let's actually move on to some NBA stuff, because I feel like we're already naturally there. Maddie, I don't know if you got a beautiful NBA sting, but whatever you got, please, good sir.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Okay, let's talk about some league-wide stuff. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys about this awesome podcast that me and Matt just learned about. It's called Dunktown. So if you want a fresh perspective on basketball, you have to check out Dunktown. Hosted by Agata and Anastasia, 2 new basketball fans learning about the NBA and WNBA. This podcast covers everything important on and off the court, from friendships and beef to hairstyles, emotions, short shorts, and more. In the off-season, they will be deep diving into historic games, basketball movies, cutie players from the past, and maybe even figuring out who poisoned MJ's pizza. Whether you're a lifelong NBA fan or you know nothing about the sport of basketball, you will enjoy this fun and endearing show. Visit their website, dunk.town, for more info, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. So first, let me just figure out what their actual website is.
It's dunk.town. That's their website.
Is there, I guess, do people put a .com after things?
No, it's I've checked it out. Yeah, it's just dunk.town. They've got like, I guess you can do that. I didn't know you could.
Dunk.town.
Dunk.town.
Folks, check it out. Yeah. Old man Freddie doesn't know everything about the internet and is still learning.
No, it's a very slick website.
Sorry. Did you say they're going to do a segment on the cutest?
They may.
I'm all about it.
Cutie players from the past.
They might.
Honestly, it's a bit of a teaser. You got to listen to the pod.
Okay. Yeah. That's how they get you.
That's how they get you in.
Because that's one of those barroom debates that rarely gets enough steam. But I want to hear it. Let's get to the bottom of this.
You got to get on that podcast. Give your
I know. I mean, Surge, right? Like, I guess.
But are we talking historical? Like, I mean, obviously current, we all have opinions, but if we're talking all time,
maybe
all time historical is Dr. J. Easy.
Oh, of course. Dominique.
But I also never.
Super sexy dude.
I can't figure out what's a cutie and what's a handsome.
Oh,
right.
I think
this might mean different things for you and me.
Okay.
Right, fair enough.
I think Dr. J and Dominique are definite. These guys fuck, sex symbol,
totally
unstoppable, handsome dudes.
I like these guys fuck. It's a good description. Okay, let's hop into not that. But I wanted to ask you guys, Yeah, just we're kind of like jumping right into the off-season stuff. Already talking about like Bradley Beal trades and the like. Cathryn, let me go to you first. What team should have the busiest off-season? Not will.
Should, and I think probably will, is the Golden State Warriors. I think they're going to be extremely active this offseason. They're in win now mode. They have the second pick in the draft. It's highly rumored to be traded, which I think makes sense. They're definitely going to be active. I heard that even Minnesota might consider trading that first pick if they can get like a really good vet, because I guess they want to finally get over this hump and into the playoffs. So, I mean, we haven't been in a situation where we've seen the top two picks potentially traded before. So that's very interesting to me. Who won't, but absolutely should, I think, is the Houston Rockets. I think they're pretty stuck. And also they don't have a GM anymore, but they definitely need a center. Like, they rolled the dice on the small ball experiment. I wouldn't say it was a complete failure. They did get to the second round in the West, but it obviously wasn't enough to get beyond that. Basically, every team that doesn't have someone that can match up against Anthony Davis defensively is in the running is going to look for someone that can match up against Anthony Davis defensively.
Yeah, the first team I wrote down for who should have who's likely and should have the busiest offseason is the Warriors. I definitely agree on that. They're moving that pick, and like they still have that core obviously ready to go. They want to contend. They want to be in the finals again. But everything beyond Steph, Clay, and Draymond, they could upgrade. They don't have Iggy anymore. They don't have Sean Livingston. Like they don't have the depth. They don't have the defense. They don't have all the other things they had that made them the dynasty. So they should go for it now.
Yeah, the Warriors are in a super interesting place because they, built it up just so organically and then started paying people like you have to do, and then kind of got lucked into / crafted the whole Kevin Durant thing. But then, KD leaving them just meant that it's like, okay, so you have 3 guys on giant contracts now who are all, Hall of Famers. And then to me, it got really weird as soon as they signed Russell, because I was like, wait a second, what's the point in getting that contract? I
think sorry, just to jump in. I think the original intention for that was for him to just fill in while Klay Thompson was injured, right? Because nobody knew that Steph Curry was also going to go down. And then he goes down early last season. And then they were like, okay, now we got to just trade this guy. That's what happened.
Yeah. Context, you know what I mean?
It was a long time ago. It was basically a year ago. And we've gone through at least 5 years of crap. So it's okay.
My team is the Magic. I feel like they should do some stuff because I feel
absolutely right.
They also have stuff. Like they're not, I don't know, they're not that bad. I think we had a similar vibes when DeRozan was our lead guy and we were kind of like, oh no, like this can't be the number one guy. But what we still did was we ended up surrounding him with enough complementary players to 1 year, win the East with 59 wins. And I think another year coming second. So like we got to a point that was like much higher than that. But they have talent, Fultz, Gordon, I'm forgetting his name right now. Jonathan, hurt his knee real bad. The swing man. It'll come to me, but I don't know. I just feel like like Ross Fournier, like they have guys and they need to kind of like get better fits or do something, or just be maybe they're a team actually that should tear down. I don't know, because they do seem kind of far away from being really good too. So that was my pick.
Another team I jotted down here is a team that I don't think should shake things up too much, but they might, and that's the Nets. They strike me as a franchise that really wants to get it going now. I think Karis
Yeah,
LeVert is
they're
really
juicy.
good, but I think they're probably going to try to get a third star.
Well, because they got Dinwiddie. I think Harris is, if I'm not mistaken, an unrestricted free agent. So I'd be pretty shocked if they retain Joe Harris. Like, he's probably gone. Especially just like, we've seen what really good shooters on teams can do. Like, if I was a team, I'd have no problem paying Harris like a pretty big contract over 4 years.
But you're right when you were saying that a lot of teams are probably looking at the Lakers and thinking like, we could be, the teams that can imagine a scenario where they could overtake, So anyway, I think the Nets are thinking if we can get a third star here.
And then, I think if you're like weren't one of the top 4 teams in the East, you're definitely looking at the Heat being like, that's who made it to the finals.
Right.
Wow. We don't have to put that much together to do this. Like, the East is not that strong where, I think Miami's actually going to be quite a bit better next year than they were this year. Boston too, and some other teams. But I think like, if you look at that, you're like, oh, well, it's not like, it's like the Cleveland days, whereas Cleveland makes the finals every year. Like, Milwaukee has been the favorite and they've lost 2 years in a row. So the East is kind of a weird place where it's not the West. You know what I mean? If you're Sacramento, you're like, what in God's name do we do?
Well, and that's a team that you could argue needs to make a move now as well. Is the
Bucks? Yeah.
Bucks, yeah, because they need like a star point guard, like a legit star. There were those Chris Paul rumors that that might still come into fruition. I don't think he's more than a 1 year solution though. But
they just need 1 year, right? They need
to keep Giannis, I guess.
They're in that tough position that any sort of smaller market team with a mega superstar. The Cavs ran into that, in the pre-Heat days where every offseason they really had to
same with OKC.
Get something because we need to keep him happy so we can resign and
we need just unimpeachable growth. And for the Bucks, it's like, yikes, unimpeachable growth is like, you have to win it all now because you've come that close. Okay,
but I think the Thunder are going to move Chris Paul. So if the Bucks can get him, even if just for 1 year, that might be worth it.
Yeah. Where does Chris Paul go? I think if you're the Heat too, you got to be thinking about Chris Paul maybe. Especially, I don't know what the Dragic scenario is. I think he's kind of at the end of his contract too. But Ned, let's I'll hit you with my last NBA question here.
Sure.
I don't know. COVID has been super long, super weird. Who have NBA fans forgotten about? Is it King Cake Baby of the New Orleans Pelicans? Is it a player? Is it, I don't know.
King Cake Baby is a solid contender here because even just in the regular NBA season, you forget about King Cake Baby, right? So you're watching a game, you're watching some highlights and they cut him in there and it freaks you out for a second, So the fact that we haven't seen King Cake Baby since March, man, it's gonna, a lot of pants will be pooped when people see him again.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Why, this is the mascot of the Pelicans, the King Cake Baby.
Cathryn, just like no one will be offended. Me and Ned are chatting here. Do yourself a favor and just Google image King
Cake Baby.
Is an alternate mascot for the Pelicans.
King Cake Baby mascot.
I'm sorry for what we both just did to you.
Yeah. King Cake Baby mascot. If you Google it, the top of the page are
it's not right.
Are 8 or 10 pictures of the King Cake Baby.
It's not right.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. What?
He is the King Cake Baby is the class of NBA mascots. Like,
it doesn't get better, folks.
You go through your whole life thinking, oh, my mascot's pretty good. And then you see King Cake Baby and you're like, what is my team even doing? An inflatable raptor?
I feel like I'm being
that they already have a mascot
and you're like, real.
Sorry? King Cake Baby. It doesn't feel real. Oh, it sure don't. It does feel like a nightmare, kind of, but it's real. It's real life.
Like
it's
what is with like New Orleans just insisting on the creepiest mascots?
And the thing is, when you hear about what King Cake Baby is, so it relates to Mardi Gras. King Cake is this cake where they hide a little baby in it, a little plastic baby. And if your piece of cake has the baby in it, like you win or something. You get to wear a crown. And so you hear about that and you're like, oh, it's just a regionalism. It's a regional, tradition that's what we're referencing. It's like, yeah, but even the tradition is fucked, guys. Like even that name alone of putting a baby in a cake.
Oh my God.
You win.
Weird.
You know
by
what?
choking on this piece of plastic.
The new Borat is coming out this weekend, and Sacha Baron Cohen was on Jimmy Kimmel, like in character, and they played a clip of this cake.
Really?
Borat does a whole thing with this cake.
Oh,
and I didn't know it was a thing. I just thought it was like a weird, stupid
like with this cake
thing.
with,
I didn't know that this was like a whole tradition, like a plastic baby in a cake. I'm not going to give away the bit, but there is a bit involving that.
Well, I really hope it's like a David Blaine style bit where he just pukes up stuff in the champagne glasses.
I'm not gonna spoil it. But they
Cathryn,
played it on Kimmel. Anyway, sorry. That was a real sidebar.
no, it was a good deep sidebar, but I want to know who do you
Who have we forgotten about?
Forgotten about, yeah.
I don't know, man, because I just feel like who have I forgotten about? I don't know a single player on the Sacramento Kings. I'll say that. Who is on the Sacramento Kings? I have forgotten completely.
Luke Walton's still coaching them. That's all I remember. Luke Walton.
Yeah.
That's who I've personally forgotten about. Who's on that team? I don't know.
We got a Buddy Hield.
Buddy Yield. Okay.
Others.
And then others. Okay. Yeah. So that's my very short answer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard because it's like, obviously I'm paying attention more than the casual fan. I mean, I'm sure the casual fan's forgotten about guys like Pascal Siakam. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
the casual fan's written off a lot of people, but I definitely have no idea what's going on with Sacramento. I know more about the Knicks or the Cavs than I do about Sacramento, and they have more wins.
I think it's going to be like a player for sure. It's going to be like, oh my God, that player. But I also feel like there's going to be a moment where people are like, right, Jack Nicholson. When things come back, or it's going to be like for Raptors fans, it's going to be like the Four Corners guy. Oh my God. You know what I mean? The DJ. Okay. My answer to my own question was the very worst, but I think we're ready to finish this baby off with some quickish questions. Maddie, what's up, buddy? I don't know if you got a quickish question sting for me, but whatever you got, please give it to me.
Quickish question.
Oh yeah.
Quickish questions, folks. I'm going to stumble through some questions. I'm going to stutter. I'm going to slur. I might hiccup or have a mini stroke. That's okay. You have to answer as quick as you possibly can. You cannot phone a friend. You cannot stall. You just have to answer at lightning speed. Cathryn, Ned, Matt, are you ready?
Let's do it.
We're going to go Cathryn, Ned, Matt. Sorry, I forgot Ned's name for a very short second there.
We're on Zoom. It's in the corner of the screen.
Cheers. Cathryn. Has Matt watched Space Jam yet?
Whoa,
slander. Well, like that's a weird question because I would have assumed yes, but now that you've asked me, I'm thrown off.
Right?
But with that, I'm still gonna say yes.
That's a no.
That's a no.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. It's hard for me to watch it. Sorry.
Matt.
Why?
I'm outraged.
Because it's like watching Goonies now for the first time. It just won't mean the same thing.
Listen, Matt, absolutely no excuses. You've watched half of it.
Yeah, I have.
What's up, buddy? Ned.
Yeah.
Where do the new Raptors jerseys rank in the all-time list of Raptors jerseys?
Oh, I'm not crazy about these. I'd put them near the bottom. I think at the top are the national reds. And of course I'm nostalgic for the purple one with the dinosaur on it. So it's not anywhere near those two.
Matt, this isn't about Space Jam.
Thank God.
And this is perfect for you because we talked about it a little bit on the pod. But thoughts on Pacers hiring Nate Bjorkgren?
Oh, I think it just shows how amazing that championship team is. We've lost 3 coaches now from the championship team. I think it's a great hire. I think it's going to be hilarious to watch the Raptors play the Pacers now and to see if they're just playing the exact same game against each other, It's gonna be fun.
What's great about coaches that end up having a coaching tree where a lot of their assistants become coaches is that the original coach is kind of like the bad boss, the big bad at the end of a video game. They can't you
want to beat them,
power over them. Pat Riley has that power over a third of the league were his assistants at some point.
Right.
But he has power over all of them.
Yeah, he's like a Sith Emperor.
Right.
Wait, is Pat Riley Snoke?
He is.
Okay.
It looks like him for sure. More hair on the top of his head, but otherwise.
Cathryn, this is a fun question. So we're going to turn it into a little bit of an all play. So the question is, fuck, marry, kill all the Raptors head coaches. But, there's 9 head coaches, and I would posit that most people don't know probably 3 or 4 of them. So I'm just going to pick kind of from top to bottom, and you'll each get an assortment of 3 coaches. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Cathryn, fuck, marry, kill. Brendan Malone, Nick Nurse, Daryl Walker.
Hold on. I'm Googling these other guys.
Brendan Malone and Walker were the first 2 coaches.
Oh, ever.
That's right. Of the Raptors.
Oh. And
Malone
Daryl
was 95 and 96.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So Nick Nurse was the first one you said?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna marry him.
Got it.
I guess I can't believe these words are.
Gotta fuck one of them.
I guess we're fucking Daryl Walker.
Hey, Daryl.
We're killing Brendan Malone. I have to.
Okay.
So Brendan Malone, I think that is the right order.
Malone, you're dead to me. You're dead to Cathryn. Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Butch Carter.
Oh.
Dwayne Casey.
Whoa.
Wild.
Jay Triano.
Whoa.
Yep, that's
Matt.
for you, Ned.
Okay.
Matt, coming up next.
We're marrying Jay Triano. He's a sweet Canadian
Wow.
boy. They make good husbands. We're fucking Dwayne Casey,
Cheers.
guys, and Butch Carter. Sorry, man.
Dead man.
Sorry,
Okay.
man. You're dead.
Maddie. Fuck,
Yeah.
marry, kill. Feel free to Google away.
I think
Lenny Wilkins.
Oh yeah, I remember Lenny.
Kevin O'Neill.
Yes.
Sam Mitchell.
Oh,
This is great. These are 3 coaches I know.
here.
Wow.
Definite kill here.
There's an easy kill. Come on.
What a dreadful.
Is there really an
compared to
easy
the
kill?
last one.
You are you forcing me to kill Kevin O'Neill?
I'm saying it's pretty obvious. But do whatever you want.
I was gonna fuck Kevin O'Neill. I just based on how much he loved Vince, I think he had a very special bond with Vince. I'm definitely fuck Kevin, and I will. I'm gonna marry fucking Smitch because that man is so nicely dressed. And I think he'd be, someone that we'd have a lot of great breakfast conversation. And I'm killing Lenny Wilkins because you have the nuts to go for the worst record and the best or most wins or whatever. You're a psycho and you need to be shot.
Poor Lenny, my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lenny's dead.
Wilkins.
Sorry, Lenny.
That's the
Wait,
whole
Freddie,
Quickish
you
questions.
don't have a version of this?
I'll do
Through all the coaches.
I'll do assistants. Kill Nate Bjorkgren.
What?
Fuck Big Cat. And marry. Let me say I'll marry Sergio Scoriolo.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
You
nice.
could take me to Spain.
That's
I don't
nice.
know.
Yeah, you'd have a nice villa in
Okay.
Spain.
That's
Right.
nice.
Yeah, that's a Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame question. Thanks, Alan Shane Lewis.
Oh my God.
We're also immature. We just crushed it. Cathryn, what is the best basketball movie?
I'm a little biased, but I'm going to say Love and Basketball.
It's like a Mount Rushmore, like whatever list you do.
I think we already mentioned it. It's Space Jam, Matt. Get on it.
Oh my God.
Maddie,
Space Jam.
Should I wait for the new one and then go back and watch the original?
Oh, no.
All right.
Ned,
Yes.
I agree with Ned.
Paul George for Westbrook. Which team says no and why?
Which team says no? Yes, we had playoff P. He was a little disappointing, but I think he's still Kawhi's buddy. He's still, well,
I don't even know
you
if
think
they're
no.
friends. I don't even
You
know
don't
if they're
think so now? Because that was
I don't
like
know.
a condition for him.
Was
I think, unless Kawhi and his uncle have turned on playoff P, that's different there. I think they're going to try to work it out. They're going to work it out in LA. They got new coach, fresh start. I think the Clippers are turning it down. They're going to stay the course, and Russ would not improve them in the slightest at all.
all right.
So that would be why.
Maddie,
Yeah.
and apologies to Ned for this question.
Cheers.
Maddie,
Yeah.
is Cleveland still a team? If so, why?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Sort of existential.
It's not nice.
I think technically, yes, Cleveland's still a team, but I think it's going to be a tough ride for quite a while, Ned. Sorry.
Well, here's my long-term plan. I'm pleased. I went my whole life dreaming of a championship, and then one happened, so I'm happy. I'm just waiting it out until LeBron retires, and then he buys the team. There you go.
That's not bad at all.
Pretty nice.
I got nervous when you said, "Here's my long-term plan" on the Quickish question segment, but it was pretty medium.
Yeah,
I'm just
pretty
waiting
summed
it
up.
out 5-10 years.
Oh,
LeBron will buy
God.
the team. They'll be happy. Happy reunion.
This is your last question. Do the Knicks make a ridiculous move this offseason? And if so, which one?
I'm actually going to say no. They're not going to make a ridiculous move this offseason because I think they have the audacity to believe they could get Giannis.
Wow. Never a truer dagger to the Knicks. They're ridiculous. They don't know how to build up. Perfect answer. Ned, who will be a new Raptors assistant coach now that Nate Dogg is the Pacers head coach?
Who will be the new assistant? You know what we haven't seen, and I think there's probably player union rules as to why not, but there used to be player coaches, and now they don't do it anymore. So I want to give it to Kyle Lowry.
I love it. Good answer. Buddies, that's Quickish Questions. That's the pod. Thank you both so much.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
No props. I mean, thank you again is what I meant to say. But thank you all so much for listening. Share, subscribe, listen to Dunktown. But before we take off, Cathryn, you were here last week, but you're a busy bee. You got shit going down. What's up? Where do you want to direct people?
So I also have a basketball podcast.
Buckets and tea.
Buckets and Tea. I'm reviewing Nick Nurse's book. Monday, I released part 1 of my review, and part 2 comes out next Monday. Probably doing the most extensive review of this book out of anybody. Every Monday, check it out. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at itsme_Cathryn, spelled Cathryn.
Awesome. No one will be doing a more in-depth, deeper look at Nick Nurse. So, folks, you got to get in there if you want to know the coach. Ned, what's up? I know you're working on a ton of different shows. I don't know what's out right now or what you want to tell people to check out or
Sure, yeah. If you guys, if you got kids or you want to watch a funny kids animated show, there's one on YTV called Ollie's Pack, which runs on the weekends, which you can check out. A lot of funny Toronto people are in that. I'm on another show called Doomsday Brothers, which airs Sunday nights on Teletoon Adult Swim. So check out those two. I'm on Twitter at Ned Petrie. And yeah, keep in touch, everyone.
Keep in touch, everyone. Well, Matt, I think that's it for the pod.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.